guys, so I finally decided to come back and make the part 2 of my how I got into Cambridge video. And yeah, so me being me, I left my lights at home so I can't glisten. Okay, hi guys, it's been so long yet again, but I'm back here with my part 2 of my how I got into Cambridge video, and this video will be specifically about the Oxbridge applications. So I hope you enjoy it and I hope that it's detailed, and yeah, let's get on with it. As I detailed before, I'm doing a mini series about how I got into Cambridge, and I've already filmed a part 1, which is about why year 12 isn't useless. So if you haven't checked that out, I will put it in the description bar below. And then part 3 will be about year 13 and just overall revision and how to do well and hopefully get the grades that you want. Also, I think it's only fitting to shout out and thank the previous YouTubers, the previous Cambridge vloggers that have put their experiences out there to help and inspire people like me. So thank you Nisi T, Courtney Daniela, Imani Shola and Ibs Mo. Thank you so much. And Ibs, like, if you see this behind me, it was Ibs like made a calendar, like, and it was on his snap. He was getting organized. So basically what I'm trying to say is even here Ibs is still inspiring me and helping me to get my life together. So thank you so much for what you've done for everyone, because I just wish you guys knew how much it means to us. But yeah, so if you've made it through year 12 and hopefully got the AS grades you want, congratulations. And I also want to say well done to the people that sat their entrance exams recently and to the people that applied. So well done for taking that chance and taking that plunge. And I know this process really is a process, but hopefully this video will help future applicants to kind of navigate themselves around the process, and even people still going through the application now. Hopefully some of the things I shed light on will help you to prepare yourself. Okay, so as I've explained before, English literature is a degree that I've always wanted to do. So I applied to Cambridge, Durham, Exeter, York and Manchester, and then I switched out York and Manchester for Southampton and Warwick. So I got offers for all 5 unis, and my firm choice ended up being Cambridge and my insurance choice ended up being Durham. So my first piece of advice to you is to make sure that you kind of stratify your unis. So 3 of my offers were A-star AA, but obviously Cambridge wanted the A-star in English specifically, and Durham and Exeter wanted the A-star AA in any order. Warwick gave me a AAA offer and Southampton gave me an AAB offer. So what you want to do is make sure that you kind of have that different. You don't want to apply to unis with all of the same grades, which I know some people made that mistake and it will not end well. So yeah, make sure you have a stratified thing. So essentially you should have a range of unis with 1 or 2 aspirational, 2 or 3 realistic, and then 1 or 2 kind of lower down grades from what you'd expect, just to have that kind of safety net, because you never know what happens on results day. So one reason why I swapped out Manchester was because that obviously the Cambridge application process is very intensive. Then Manchester wanted you to do like a test and then I think an interview. So I really did want to just focus all my energies on Cambridge, because as well I was gonna apply to UCL, but they too wanted you to hand in work and do an interview, and I thought, okay, let me just kind of put my energy into Cambridge. So also think about that as well, and what other unis require you to do for you to get an offer. The next thing I'm going to talk about is choosing between Oxford and Cambridge, which is something that you'll have to do. So, despite Oxford having an AAA entry to do English literature, I decided to apply to Cambridge. I mentioned in my previous video, I got the chance to go to Oxford Pathways and to do a kind of course to do with English there. And yeah, they go way back, like to Beowulf times. They go way back. Whereas in English, I think the furthest the course goes back is Chaucer time. So I didn't want to go way back. And another thing is that I just liked Cambridge better. I liked the feeling, the environment, the atmosphere. That's it. I liked the atmosphere in Cambridge, and I just felt that the atmosphere in Oxford wasn't for me. And guys, my journey to Oxford was the worst journey I've ever had. I had to pay £20 for Heathrow Express, go to some random train station. I nearly missed the train. It was just a mess. Whereas Cambridge, I have the ease of living on the Piccadilly line, going to King's Cross, and it being 45 minutes away. So yeah, I actually thought about the ease of transport as well. So I suggest looking at the courses, because as well, I've spoken to other people that said they applied to Oxford because the course is more specific as to what they want to do. So look at the course, go to both universities and just have a feel for it. And yeah. Okay, now in terms of choosing a college. So my Homerton story begins, I don't know, sometime in year 12 when a friend of mine was always talking about Homerton College. So I kind of it was in the back of my mind already. And then the friend would say that it was the friendliest college in Cambridge, and it's actually branded as that on Student Room, I think. So do check out the Student Room kind of debriefs on each college, because that helped me to make my decision as well. And then I mentioned in my other video that I went to a Cambridge masterclass. In that Cambridge masterclass was the head of the admissions forum that did a talk about admissions to Cambridge, and he was so lovely and so nice. I really liked him, right? And then a couple of months later, one day, I'm just curious, so I type in Homerton College and look at the teaching staff there, and who do I see? It was the lovely and just friendly and just outgoing and positive person that did the admissions talk at the masterclass. So already that made me even more attracted to it, because I really wanted to learn with him. And it's not recommended that you pick a college because you like someone that teaches there, but I was like, look, yeah. And then kind of the final piece of the Homerton puzzle was coming across Nissy T's channel. Guys, when I tell you, I called my friend and I was like, oh my gosh, there's this YouTuber that does English at Homerton, literally living my life. And it was just, I feel like it was just a sign from God. All of these were signs from God that I should just pick Homerton. And then it all culminated to when I got the opportunity to attend the Homerton College Summer School, where I got to be here in the flesh and just enjoy Homerton. So yeah, there are a lot of reasons why I picked Homerton, even though it's further out. I wanted that because I live in a quite busy area in London, so I just kind of wanted that kind of space, especially because the inner city Cambridge is very busy. I wanted that different environment and just to feel like I'm in a different environment for 3 years. So that's another reason why I picked Homerton. Different colleges have different things about them. Some are self-catering, some you have to have catered food. Homerton's a mixture of both. So stuff like that. And the fact that Homerton has the largest undergraduate population, that was something I liked as well. And that it has a good kind of like theatre society, that was something I liked as well. So just make sure that you find out as much as possible about each college and make your decision that way. Alternatively, you can put in an open application and they'll assign you to a college. So another big tip with picking a college is to not be tactical. Please, please, please don't be tactical, because you could end up getting winter pulled, you could end up getting summer pulled, you could end up getting rejected. Like, just go for what you like and try. This is actually a video I might save for later. So a friend of mine called Temi, who applied for physics nat ski, actually enlightened me to the fact that the kind of way you do a personal statement for the sciences, maths is quite different from the way you do it for a humanities subject. And obviously for a humanities subject, guys, so yeah, I'll do a separate video on personal statements and I'll bring a guest, and she's now studying economics, so she'll be able to help with that too. Cambridge will then ask you to submit an SAQ, whereby you just give them a bit more information and you provide a picture. And be careful, because when you provide that picture, it will be the picture for your university card if you get in. So yeah, bear that in mind also. But yeah, you'll be asked to provide another mini personal statement, and then there's a section where, is there anything else you wish to say? So I will include that in the personal statement video, because yeah, it's kind of got to do with explaining why you want to do English or why you want to come to Cambridge. Well, you have to submit 2 pieces of written work for a humanities subject, and the essays I submitted were kind of from early year 12 and the marks were not nice. And when I read over the essays, there were spelling mistakes. It was not good. But one of the things I really want to stress to you guys is please, 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 throughout this whole application process, whatever you do, do not flex for Cambridge. You know how people flex for the gram? Do not flex for Cambridge. This is something I told myself throughout the whole application, that no matter what happens, I really just want to stay genuine to myself and make sure this whole application is genuinely me. So what I mean by that is, when you're submitting written work, they do ask you to not alter it. Obviously, some people go ahead and write these brilliant essays about these brilliant topics and hand those in as if they are, you know, their original pieces of written work. And at first, I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to just write brand new essays that got high marks to submit. But I just decided to stick with those essays from year 12, and although I don't think that they showed me in my best light, because they do ask you to pick the essays that show you like in your best light, I don't think they did that. But I'm so glad that I didn't kind of flex for Cambridge and wrote these new essays and just sent them what is genuinely me, because through that they'll be able to kind of see your potential and where you can go. So for my year, it was the first year that Cambridge were introducing admissions tests. Oxford have always done admissions tests because they don't really look at your AS grades. But with the AS reform and the fact that some schools weren't even doing ASs, Cambridge decided to bring in these admissions tests so that they could kind of look at pupils based on something like an exam, and they weren't looking at your UMS marks anymore unless you did a modular subject. Well, so do recall your knowledge from all of your schooling, not just A-level schooling. It went okay. I never got to find out what result I got. When I tried to log into the result system, and it wouldn't let me, so I'll never know what I got in my admissions tests. But yeah, do a lot of preparation. There will be past papers and kind of reports online as to how you should go about doing them, and you should be fine. Like, most of all, don't panic and try to enjoy it. Okay guys, one of the things that I forgot to showcase in the video that I really wanted to show you was the interview preparation folder that I made. So I actually made this folder as if it was a separate subject. So I just like thought about different questions, as you can see, and like just had a little bit of a think about the subject. I brushed up on my vocabulary, as you can see, all these vocab words. I wrote down the books that I was interested in, and then yeah, as you can see, I had different sections, and some other things. So most of the material here has probably been transferred to my A2 texts or my uni folder. So once I do a like folder and organization video with you guys, you'll be able to see a bit more about what I'm talking about. But yeah, as you can see, here's my personal statement and stuff like that. So it's just like really about getting organized. And here's like the online course I did and the notes I made on that, and the notes I made on different texts. So that's all about Wordsworth. And then here we have my super curricular activities, and I wrote a bit about them and what I learnt from them. As you can see, I wrote about the Love Lit Club, my visit to the V&A Museum, and like going to see Macbeth at the Globe Theatre and all my summer schools. And then I did my extra reading, which was reading that's apart from my personal statement. So I put those pieces in here. And yeah, as you can see, there's just like a lot of extra poetry and extra things. And then again, this is now about specifically the texts I mentioned in my personal statement. So these are all the texts that were mentioned in my personal statement, and I made notes about everything and just spoke about them. And like, so yeah, it's actually like having a whole different subject. It really is, like, it really is stress. Like, I cannot even believe it, but it's worth it. It's worth it, and you learn so much more. So this is more poet. So I split everything into poetry, drama, I believe, and this is about Dr. Faustus and Macbeth. So I made notes on that as well. So I literally made in-depth notes about all my texts. And obviously you don't have to be this extra, but I am. And yeah, I listened to some podcasts as well about some of the texts, so I made sure to mention those as well, because it just shows you as like an all-round student. And then I looked at the books that were on my A-level syllabus and kind of just made comments about them and thought about what I would say if I was asked about those. And then I looked at literary periods and not made a timeline, but got one from the internet, which is something actually that my English teacher, Mrs. Helgadottir, recommended. She said that it would be good to get a timeline just to familiarize yourself with everything. And it's actually something I have on my wall to this day. Like, it's one of the best pieces of advice I was given. So yeah, and I also looked up literary periods, which is like all the stuff that I did for that in this folder is actually now in my university folder. So it's gone on to help me so much, so much. And then I looked at the Cambridge course structure and what stood out for me, and these were the things I was interested in. And then this is my SAQ stuff actually. So these are my 2 answers to my SAQ, and there are mistakes. I believe there are mistakes, and there's a mistake in my personal statement as well, but we're not going to talk about that right now. And then yeah, this is just some extra like interests I had. So about poetry and song lyrics, and about film, and about religion and literature, and all that good stuff, and about technology and literature. So it just broadens my ability to have a conversation about literature. And then yeah, this is just like mock interview stuff, some more about English literature. I think this is from an actual Oxbridge interview book with someone, a teacher photocopied for me. This was a mock passage I was given, and yeah, these are other mock poems I was given. And this is material, just unseen material that a friend printed out for me because he wanted to help. So yeah, and Guardian articles. So okay, that is my Cambridge folder. That is the folder I did in order, the folder I made in order to prepare for interviews. So that might be an avenue that you may or may not want to take. It's not necessary, because the other people applying for other subjects didn't necessarily do this, but yeah, I figured that it helped with my studies anyway, so I went all out. So I arrived in Cambridge. I thought I had time. I went to Costa. I got a tuna panini. I got a hot chocolate. I was like living lavish, right? Homerton is about a 20-minute walk away from the station. So here I am thinking I have time. And then I was like literally rushing to Homerton, and then when I got to Homerton, they wanted me to fill out a sheet about books I've read and kind of my opinions and stuff. So I was even more rushed with that, and then I had to go and read my passage for the first interview. When I saw that passage, guys, when I saw that passage, that was when I knew that this was Cambridge. It was a piece of prose and I did not understand any of it. I was like, what? What have they given me? And I had like 5 minutes to read and analyze it before having to go to my interview. My first interview is with 2 people, and I would say it went relatively well. One of the interviewers spoke about my photography work and how that links to English, spoke about Macbeth, basically things I mentioned in my personal statement. And then we moved on to the passage, and the way I swear I repeated myself like 15 times. I was repeating the same things, and they kept asking questions, and I was just like, I don't understand.
I don't understand, bitch. Don't understand. I don't understand, bitch.
I actually did not understand, guys. And then I go upstairs to wait for my second interview, and I get another passage to read, which is more like a poem kind of thing. Like, I don't know what it was. And I'm there early because someone else is doing their interview before me. So I get through the passage, I'm there chilling, like, yes, I've got it, this is buff, this is peng, I love this passage. And one of the interviewers came late, so he just went into the room, and then they were like, oh, you can sit here for 5 minutes then, and then come back in once you're ready. My interviewer said that. And I was so lucky, because when I turned the sheet around, there was more, and I hadn't looked over it. Like, my heart dropped when I realized that there was more at the back of the sheet. So I was like, thank God they gave me an extra 5 minutes. I skim read it, and then so my interview, that interview had 3 people. Again, the basis of the conversation was mostly my personal statement. We had an amazing conversation about Macbeth. Bear in mind, Macbeth is a play that I did at GCSE. Like, it's a GCSE text. This is what I mean by don't flex, don't do the most. Just stick to what you enjoy, even if it's simple. Like, you have to be able to know what you're saying. We had an in-depth conversation which I really enjoyed, and then we started talking about the text, and I was like getting into conversation about ambiguity, and yeah, we just had such a lovely conversation. This process was just so fun. Like, it actually is fun. When you look back, it actually is enjoyable. So in hindsight, basically what I'm trying to tell you guys is go in with the mind frame that you will enjoy it, because you will. So after the interview, you have the long and luxurious wait of getting the email or letter on decision day. And thank God, we thank God, God is good, because the email said, congratulations, you have been offered a place to read English at Homerton College. And yeah, that was one of the most like amazing feelings in my life. But I didn't get too gassed because you need the grade. And as well, I just want you guys to know that the period of applying to Oxbridge is one of the most stressful periods in all of education. For me personally, it was more stressful than A2 exam season. Applying to Oxbridge was the hardest thing I've ever done in my academic life, because you're trying to balance A2 and this completely different domain with this really intensive application process. But at the same time, I wouldn't replace it for anything, because even if you don't get in, what you learn about yourself, your resilience, and about your subject helps so much when it comes to A2 exam season. Good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck. I wish you the best of luck, and I wish you success. And remember, even though it may not be successful, you have grown and matured as a student, and you're all the more better for it. And yeah, I hope that helps, and I'll see you later, so bye.